Alright guys, so I'm going to do a video on this ft450. I found something interesting on this radio. The thing I really don't like about this radio is this, like, I don't know how to describe this knob, but it's like some kind of French tickler kind of goofy knob. I don't like it. I think it's like my biggest complaint about this radio is like it has like this really ugly knob. So this was like really supposed to be my portable mobile radio. You can kind of see it's hard to read the display at an angle. It tends to wash out and look funny. But anyway, so this knob's normally on here like this, and it kind of sits on there. However, it's usually pretty hard to get off, but I'm like, I think I'm gonna put it on like that. Call it good. Flip it around. But what drives me nuts is it looks like it wobbles. I'm not trying to whine or complain, but more the issue with this than anything is that, like, when you're operating in the field, it's kind of hard to quickly spin it through. It doesn't have a finger spinner on it. I did 3D print a knob for it, and it goes over this part here, and it's like really hard to get on there. But when you go see if I have the correct Allen wrench just sitting here to remove this knob, because I'm kind of curious. It seems to be like a little bit of wobble here, and whatever it is smaller than that means it might be this other one. I generally keep some Allen keys around. That are usually the right size. And with the 3D printers, I usually have even more Allen keys laying around than normal. So let's see if it's this one. I think though behind here we're gonna find this thing's loose. It's actually larger than that. Okay. It means it's probably... Yeah, look at that. This thing's heavily weighted. Who would have thought, right? There's a lot of weight in it. That is an awful lot of play. They just don't make the radios like they used to anymore. There's like some kind of glue here, and I'm not really 100% sure how this spring is supposed to function or what it's supposed to do. Really strange. It almost looks like it's supposed to sit on that notch. It's a lot of brass in there. So as you see, it's like really hard to read this display. The camera picks up basically almost the entire display lit up. You can kind of see it pulse width modulating too. So I really don't care for the display on this radio, and when you're outdoors, it can be kind of hard to read. But it's not like a big huge deal because it's not something people need to worry about. You can't really find this radio new, so you can find it used. I kind of liked the original radio a little bit better. It had a different VFO knob. This mask on the front of this thing is like glued on, and I think it's not even, and so I think it gives the illusion that it's crooked. So what I'm going to do is just put this on here like this and just try and get it to look a little better. I really wish they'd have just put like a different size knob. Boy, it's very wobbly looking. I'm trying to think of what the hell I did with the knob I have for it. Now, as far as like going in here, I can adjust the display somewhere. This radio kind of has a menu I've never really gotten used to. It sort of reminds me of the 80s radios, like the display font. Tuner, Vox. It's just like they really probably should have did some normal characters instead of like whatever they used here. Some of this stuff's just really hard to read. D display, or is it D type? I don't know what that would be. Okay, that's 0. I don't know what that is. It doesn't seem to be the... That's not the display. It's like you see these digits next to it are like kind of lit up. Even without looking through the camera, it looks that way. I'm not sure where it is. Peak and hold. QSPLF. Oh, you know what? I think it might be completely on a different thing. Okay. So function and the dimmer. So that's all the way up. 8. It still looks like crap. But it lights up too much stuff. I don't know, it's just not a very good display. The one I really like the display on is the 891. And that little radio is so much easier. It's just like it's lighting up these digits. Like maybe it's just the backlighting or something. But I think there's another setting. And when we look at this, these 4s, they look really weird on the camera. And we can see the display kind of flicker a little bit here and there. Yeah, I don't know. What I found was no matter how I adjusted it, I really didn't care for it. But it's good radio for portable and stuff like that. It's got a tuner in it that's okay. You know, it's better than having no tuner. If you stand away from it from a distance, you know, and you don't look at it so close, it's a little bit probably easier. But once you start to get up to 8, you really, you know, you need it probably dimmed all the way down. I don't know. It's just, it's kind of one of these like in between phases for Yaesu. You know, they don't really have that problem with the 1200 and the 3000. I don't think, if I remember correctly. No, because that's a TFT display. So the display on the 3000 is very, very clear. Yeah. Yeah, there's no kind of issues with it. Anyway, but this thing, on the other hand, you can see, you know, all the different stuff. But if you wanted a small radio and you want to buy a used radio, these are still really, really good. I don't really feel like dimming it makes it a huge improvement. And it also depends at the angle that you look at it. So let me see if I can. It usually looks really good in the camera there. Yeah, you start to like. You see, if you look at it at a different angle. Anyway, I'm just gonna leave it right there, I think. I don't know if there's any other function. The early radio, you could change the color. You had RGB, and you could adjust the numbers and come up with whatever color you wanted to. And this one doesn't do that. Why is it that I think the original one, the buttons lit up in the dark? I'm thinking it did. I'm thinking the keys were backlit on the original radio. I might be wrong. I don't know, I'll have to look that up. Maybe we should look it up and see if we can find it on here. Yeah, that angle's real bad. So, I don't really use this very much portable, and I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe it's mostly the menu. I just really struggle with the menu, like getting into the menu and remembering where the power setting is, and also like on AM, when you go into AM, you can't move through the band with this VFO, and I think you're supposed to use this knob, the multifunction knob, and so it's kind of a little weird. They have the signal chain here, and they have the roofing filter, which I don't know why they show it, because you can't turn it on or off, and you can't change it. And then the radio has the DSP and all that kind of stuff right here, which is kind of clunky of a menu. Like, you have the width right here, and then I think, like, I can't remember what you got to do to push this button, and it'll give you the different menus of the contour, the notch, the DNR, the width, and all that. And then I don't know what the hell that's supposed to do. I guess when you push it, you can change things. So the radio's just kind of got like some features and functions that, like, if you don't use it all the time, really, this isn't like your everyday radio. You know, you're not going to get the most use out of it, because it's just not shared with anything else that I'm using, and there might be some small similarities on the 1200 and the 3000 menu system, but it doesn't have like the P parametric EQ. It doesn't even have a mic gain control. It has like high, low, and medium and stuff, and it doesn't sound amazing and it doesn't sound bad. It's kind of like, it's a little small radio that works pretty good, and I haven't really heard of a lot of problems with them. They seem to be pretty good. Maybe not the most fun to listen to. I don't know, we have it hooked up. Let's see what we got. It doesn't have a band stack because you just have these buttons here. So let's see. Not really hearing anything. I might actually be on the wrong antenna. Sure am. Doesn't want to let me change mode. Okay. See, I've already couldn't remember how to use the damn thing.
Welcome to you also. I hope you come back. Going to return now to Mexico, Bob. Other than that, I still got my head key in the back. I found out what was wrong.
This is one of my biggest pet peeves about ham radio operation.
So what was wrong with the head key?
Pick an even number for a frequency. Okay, you're at 7202.5. It's not going to matter if you're on 7202 or 7203. Okay, if someone's near you, that 0.5 is not enough to stop the bleed over. So then you get into like the contesters, and they'll do something even weirder. They'll go even less. They'll go like 0.25 or 0.22750, and they just like do like the weirdest stuff. Like, the reason that I think you pick a certain frequency is you look for a clear frequency. So if this guy's on here on a modern radio, and like back in the day, I could see if you were on that frequency because your radio, you didn't know exactly where you were at in the first place. But to pick this particular frequency to have a QSO or call CQ is kind of counterproductive in my opinion, because a lot of times most people don't want their radio to even move in that kind of tuning fashion. They want whole steps of like basically go 205, 206, and they can quickly toggle through the band. Because if you're on an even frequency, there's no reason that I need to fine-tune these digits here to tune you in on a modern radio. So, like on the old radios, I could totally see it. On radios that didn't have step tuning, I could totally see it. But it drives me nuts when these guys will get on in-between frequencies like that. It's like, I don't see any reason for it. And on a bunch of my radios, I have them set up to where they don't ever tune on that frequency. So what ends up happening is, particularly I think on my ICOM, I keep trying to tune them in and I can't find where they're at, and then I realize they're in between. So I don't know. I'm not trying to whine or anything, complain. I just really think it's kind of weird. Why would you do that? Sort of like operating on upper sideband on 40 meters. Even though you can do it, why would you do it? You know, it's going to confuse people for a second before they figure out what's going on. So I don't know why people do that. It doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of like the saying that they say, when in Rome, do like the Romans do, you know. Oh, you want to do something weird so you can be special and unique. I get it. You know. So I don't like it when people do that. I can understand why the contesters maybe sometimes do it. And they're not even always, you know, like operating where they're on the same frequency. And moving around and listening because they're on a split. Nobody on here, huh?
Bring me to your black tape.
So the only thing this radio actually does do is it should technically remember where you're at. Interesting. Seems like bands are pretty dead today.
And it doesn't run on Coke Zero, it runs on water. So it's like that's the oil of your system. So everything else you throw in there